Renal physiology. This is very important topic, renal systems physiology. The renal systems is also known as, this system is also known as excretory system. Why is it is called excretory system? Because it excrete metabolic waste from body. Second, it is also known as urinary system. Why? Because it forms urine, right? And it is also known as, this whole system is also known as renal system. What is renal system mainly? Renal system is a system composed of kidneys, ureters and urinary bladder, which is responsible for the excretion or the elimination of waste product from body. The waste product may be from metabolism, it may be from anabolism, it may be from catabolism, it may be from drugs. The drugs we are taking for treatments, all the drugs, mainly all the drugs are excreted, right? So today we will focus on the introduction of renal system, right? Introduction to nephrons, which is the main structural and functional unit of renal system. Also we will focus on how this renal system is relates with cardiac output, glomerular filtration rate, renal flow, tubular flow and urine formation. The components of, what are the components of renal system? Kidneys. How many kidneys are there? 2. Kidneys, ureters, 2. Urinary bladder. What is the function of urinary bladder? And urethra. Right? These are the components of urinary or renal system. Right? Now, this kidney, how many nephrons are there in one kidney? 1.2 million. Right? And what is the length of this kidney? Measurements of kidney, because the kidney is one of the main organ of renal system. What is the measurement? What are the measurements? The length of kidney is 9 to 11 millimeter, right? What is the weight? It is about 6 millimeter. And it is centimeter or millimeter? Centimeter. And what is the thickness? It is 3 centimeter, right? And the blood this kidney taking blood from abdominal aorta and it giving back the blood to inferior vena cava. This is the main thing, because when the kidney is getting enough blood, it means our heart is working properly, right? If the kidney is not taking the blood properly, it means there is some disturbance in cardiac output or in heart, right? So for example, I have, this is abdominal aorta. We will divide all these arteries, right? And for example, this is the main vena cava, which taking the blood back to heart, right? An artery arises from this abdominal aorta. It's called main renal artery, and this is renal artery. These renal arteries taking the oxygenated or the blood from aorta to kidney for filtration, right? And these are the veins called renal veins, which taking the blood back to inferior vena cava. For example, this is our right kidney and this is left kidney. Just in a few seconds we will cut cross sectionally this kidney and we'll see what is the division of this blood supply which is entering to kidneys, right? But here this is renal artery and this is renal vein. Of course these veins will be right and left, right? A tube is originating from kidney, taking the urines from kidney to urinary bladder are called ureters, right? And these ureters entering to this urinary bladder on posterior side, right? This is the left ureter and this is right ureter. These are how you will define this ureter. This is a tube of connective and epithelial tissues which taking the urine from kidneys to urinary bladder. What is urinary bladder? Urinary bladder is triangular structure or sac which stores the urine from kidneys. What is the capacity of this urinary bladder? It can store 1 to 1.5 liter urines, right? We will discuss this. What is the normal capability of a kidney to form urine in 24 hours, right? And what is the capability of our body, how much urine will be passing out from body in 24 hours, right? We will divide this in minutes, per minutes and per nephron, right? So this is the normal components of urinary system. Now, what is the structural and functional unit of this kidney? Is nephron. The number of nephrons are very important. Nephron. What is nephron? This is the anatomical and physiological unit of kidney. How many nephrons are there in kidney? Is approximately 1.2 million in each kidney. So we have 2.4 million in both kidneys, nephrons, right? And these nephrons have 2.4 million glomeruli. Mean that we have 2.4 million filtrating units in our body which filtering the blood in each minutes, right? So this is the anatomical and physiological unit of kidney. We will divide this nephron into its beautiful parts after we will discuss the blood supply to this kidney, right? First of all, we will take a kidney and this is the ureter coming out from kidney, right? If we cut this kidney, we will see a line between the medulla and cortex, right? For example, this is that line, and this line is called the corticomedullary junction. This is called corticomedullary junction. This is just the point where medulla and cortex of kidneys are interconnected, right? We will divide the nephrons according to this line. We have cortical nephrons and we have juxtamedullary nephrons, right? So this is the corticomedullary junction. Now, this area is called, the outside area is called renal cortex and the inside area is called renal medulla. So, for example, this is the renal cortex. About, I think, 85% of nephrons are present in cortex, the nephrons which have cortical glomerulus, and about 15% are juxtamedullary glomeruli, right? The blood supply to juxtamedullary and the cortical nephrons is different, right? We will discuss this. For example, this is abdominal, aorta, right? First we will discuss only the arterial blood supply, right? So from here an artery is arising which is called renal artery. For example, this is renal artery. Of course, this is right side, right renal artery. This area is called hilum. Hilum. At the level of hilum, this renal artery is divided into two branches. Renal artery is divided into two branches. The posterior segmental renal artery and the anterior segmental artery. For example, this is posterior segmental artery and this is anterior segmental artery. So this is anterior segmental artery and this is posterior segmental artery, or it is also known as posterior renal artery and anterior renal artery, which is entering to the kidney through hilum, right? Now what are present in the renal medulla? Pyramids. These are the structures which are called pyramids. Number of pyramids are 6 to 8 or 8 to 10. 6 to 8 or 8 to 10, right? These are the pyramids, the structures which are present in renal medulla, right? From here, this segmental artery is divided into branches and each artery is passing in between two pyramids, right? Each branch of this segmental artery is passing in between two pyramids and this branch artery is called interlobular artery. This artery is called interlobar artery, LOBAR, interlobar artery, right? At the level of this corticomedullary junction, each branch, this interlobar artery is divided into two branches, right and left. For example, from here it is divided into two. From here it is divided into two. From here it is divided into two. And from here it is divided into two. Right? What is the name of this artery? This artery is called arcuate artery, renal arcuate artery, right? So this is called, because this is just like an arc, right? So it is called arcuate artery, right? This is the branch of interlobar artery, right? Now these arteries are further divided into branches in cortex, right? And these arteries are called interlobular arteries. This is called interlobar artery and these arteries are called interlobular arteries, right? So this is called interlobular lobular arteries, right? After these lobular arteries arises some branches on right and left, and these are the efferent arterioles. These branches are efferent arterioles, right? Now for clearing our concept, we will take a slice from here, right, and we'll see all the arteries in zooming view, right? For example, this is the this is the renal capsule, right? This green is the corticomedullary junction, right? And this is the pyramid. This is the pyramid. This area is called papilla. This fx is called papilla. We will discuss this, right? So this is the pyramid, right? And medulla. Of course, this pyramid is present in medulla, right? And this is our abdominal aorta. Abdominal aorta, right? And from abdominal aorta, a branch arises which is called renal artery. So this is abdominal. This is abdominal aorta or simply aorta. This branch is renal artery. This is right renal artery, and of course we have the left. This is left renal artery, at taking blood to left side, and this is to right kidney, and from right kidney we have taken this slice, right? And we will see that what is the blood supply of this one pyramid, one cortical area, and how that blood is divided into all the nephrons, right? For example, this artery is divided into posterior and anterior branches. So this is posterior segmental artery, right? And this is anterior segmental artery, right? It is entering into xylem of kidney, and from there it is divided into all the pyramids, right? So from here, for example, this is divided into, this is one artery and this is other artery. This artery is running in between two pyramids here, right? And this artery is called interlobar artery. Interlobar artery, right? This green line showing the corticomedullary junction. This is corticomedullary junction, right? At the level of this corticomedullary junction, this interlobar artery is divided into two, right? For example, from here it is divided into and of course this is also interlobular artery, and it is also dividing. Right, these arteries are called interlobular arteries, and these arteries are called arcuate arteries. So it is divided into arcuate arteries. Right, this is also arcuate artery. From here, for example, this is the renal capsule, and this area is renal renal cortex, and this is renal medulla, right. From here it divides into so many small branches. For example, this one, it is called renal blood flow tree, like bronchial tree, right. These arteries are called interlobular arteries. These are called interlobular arteries, right. Interlobular arteries, right. And from interlobular arteries, for example, there are a lot of branches, but here we are showing only 3 branches. One branch is far away from this corticomedullary junction, and one is very close to corticomedullary junction. The blood supply to this far away nephron and this nephron, it will be different, right. For example, from here these arteries are arising. These are mainly the efferent arterioles which are entering into glomerulus of nephron, right. From all of these branches are arising, which are called efferent arterioles, right. Each of this efferent arteriole enters into each glomerulus and forms a glomerulus and will go out in the form of efferent arteriole. This is the only area in our body of capillary beds which is starting from arterioles and ending also is on arterioles, right. For example, from here it will divided into arterioles and it will form glomerulus, and this glomerulus is placed in a cup-like structure called Bowman's capsule, right. We will talk about this nephron later, but here this is the efferent arteriole and this is efferent. The entry and exit is both on the arteries, same. Why is so? Because this is the filtrating unit, right, and we need a high blood pressure here, and you know that in arteries the blood pressure is high as compared to veins. What will be the blood pressure here? In glomerular capillaries, it is almost 60 mm of Hg, and in peritubular capillaries it is only 13 mm of Hg. So it is a lot of difference between the blood pressure, and due to this high blood pressure, this blood is filtering to Bowman's capsule. How many blood is going to Bowman's capsule? We will discuss this, right? So this is efferent artery. What happened to this efferent artery? It is further divided into, and it forms a capillary bed, and this capillary bed is ending now on venules. It forms veins. What are the veins? First peritubular venules, then interlobular vein, then arcuate vein, then interlobar vein, then it is the anterior posterior segmental vein, renal vein, and inferior vena cava, right? So these capillary bed is called the peritubular capillaries. Peritubular capillaries, because it covers all the tube system of nephron, and absorption and reabsorption of water, electrolytes, and wastes occur through this peritubular circulation, right? So here are two capillaries bed. One is glomerular capillaries. These are called glomerular capillaries, and this is called peritubular capillaries. So each nephron getting two types of capillaries bed. One is glomerular capillaries bed, and the second is peritubular, right? But this peritubular system is only present in cortical nephrons, the nephrons which are present in cortex of kidney, right? Only these nephrons taking these peritubular capillaries from glomerulus or glomerular capillaries, right? What is the unique point here? For example, if we take this segment here, for example, this is this artery, which is called the efferent arteriole. This efferent arteriole is divided into capillaries and forms a structure which is called glomerulus. And also an artery is arising from here, because it is starting from artery, it is ending on artery. So we called it, this is the unique point in our body which is important for blood filtration coming from left ventricle of heart. What is the blood amount pumping by left ventricle in each minute? Pahari o minute ke the left ventricle na sumra blood rosi 5 liters, approximately 5 liters, right? And from 5 liters 20 to 22% is going to renal system. 22% mean 1000 ml is going to kidneys in each minute, and kidney is filtrating that blood, right? So this is one thing which is starting from artery is ending on artery. But here this is efferent arteriole, which is the exact point of glomerulus. It is again divided into capillaries, right? But these capillaries ends on veins, and these veins will again go to here, and it will form a parallel venal system. So this is called peritubular. These capillaries are called peritubular capillaries, right? This vein is called interlobular. So these are peritubular capillaries bed. These are efferent artery which is arising from or exit from glomerulus. This is efferent artery which is coming to glomerulus. Right from here, this is interlobular vein. This interlobular vein will drain into this vein and it will parallel with this arcuate arteries divides, and this is called arcuate vein, and this arcuate vein will drain into a parallel vein to this interlobar artery. This is, for example, interlobar vein, and here it will form segmental vein, and at last it will form the renal vein, and this renal vein will drain into inferior vena cava. Right, this is the blood supply of kidney. What is the point which is different from other body here? This system, because we have two capillaries bed. In other body we have the system like this. For example, this is the artery, it divides into arterioles. These arterioles are divided into capillaries, and from here it will form venules, veins. Right, except kidney, all the blood supply is like this, but in kidneys we have two capillaries bed. One is only arterioles and the second is arterioles and venules. Right, now come here. Right, for example, this glomerulus is placed in a cup-like structure called Bowman's capsule, and this Bowman's capsule, it will form the proximal convoluted tubules. From proximal convoluted tubules we have loop of Henle. Loop of Henle have how many parts? The wider part, the narrow part are the ascending limb, the U-shaped structure and the descending limb. Right, for example, this is the loop of Henle, and we have distal convoluted tubules, and at last it will form the collecting ducts. This is the collecting duct. Right, all these peritubular capillaries or arterioles, it will cover this tubular system. Right, it will cover this tubular system. Right, and will at last it will form the arcuate vein and will drain into this interlobar vein. Right, this phenomena is only for the nephrons which are cortical nephrons. The glomerulus of those nephrons is present in cortex of kidney or renal cortex, but the glomeruli which are very near to this corticomedullary junction. For example, this is the efferent artery. Right, and this is the glomerulus present very near to this corticomedullary junction, and this is the Bowman's capsule. This nephron have very short proximal convoluted tubules and have very long loop of Henle and also it have very short distal convoluted tubules, and at last it will drain into, for example, it is drained into this or this collecting duct. Now, what is the different blood supply to this type of nephron? This efferent arteriole, this is efferent arteriole which exit the glomerulus, efferent arteriole. Which type of glomerulus? The juxtamedullary glomerulus, right? It will form the vasa recta. It will form vasa recta, not the peritubular tubules, right? What is vasa recta? The vasa recta is a long arterial and vein system which covers the loop of Henle and tubular system. It is not dividing like this peritubular arteries or veins, capillaries, right? It will form along artery and vein, right? And this will drain into this arcuate vein, and arcuate will be into interlobular vein. Here it will form a little bit capillaries. This long vessel is called vasa recta, right? So we can say that in cortical nephrons we have peritubular system, in juxtamedullary nephrons we have vasa recta. What is the role of vasa recta? The role of vasa recta is the concentration of urine. It has a very important role in concentration of urine, because this medulla or this pyramid have a lot of electrolytes, a lot of wastes here, right? And this blood supply, this different blood supply concentrate the urines, right? Because concentration of urine mainly occur in pyramids, right? The number of these nephron is about 85%. About 85% are cortical nephrons. Why these nephrons are called cortical? Because the glomerulus of these nephrons is present in renal cortex, and these nephrons are called juxtamedullary nephrons. It is about 15%. Why it is called juxtamedullary? Because the glomeruli of these nephrons is present near to juxtamedullary junctions or corticomedullary junction, right? So this is the different types of nephrons. Two types of nephrons we have, the juxtamedullary and the cortical. The cortical are mainly more than juxtamedullary, because the main urine formation occur here, and the concentration, the role of kidney to concentrate the urine is the function of juxtamedullary nephron and the vasa recta, right? What is the role of this peritubular capillaries? The absorption and reabsorption of water and electrolytes, right? Just in a few moments we will discuss the functions of renal system. In functions of renal system we will discuss the regulatory and the excretory functions. And regulatory functions, we will see that how the kidney regulates the electrolytes and water in body, or how many of the fluids will converts into urine. How many converts into, if this nephron, one nephron getting 100 ml of fluid per minute, how many will convert into urine? Anyone? How many percent? 1%. Anyone else? Mean 99% will be reabsorbed, 1% will be form urine. Are you sure? Anyone else? So पकड़ा सकते 100 ml for example nephron पे Z असल के टूल nephron पे यूज़ है 100 ml अली ठीक दा हो पदे के बस 100 ml चले नो यूरिन जुड़ी गयो 100 ml पे वापस जी बॉडी था 90% 90% will be urine, 20% will be urine, and 80% will be reabsorbed. Hassan. Actually, Rumaisa is right. Only 1 ml is converted into urine. 99% will be reabsorbed from kidneys. And that's why our kidneys are capable to form 1 ml urine per minute. Right? So, we will discuss this. But this is the blood supply of kidney.
Sir, the vein determines that the artery filtration arcuate artery the fastest theory of surgery.
Nadi pas parallel theory ki marto ne parallel di to which dwana da si for example this is interlobar artery and this is interlobar vein. Only the direction is changed. Both are running parallel. And for example, this is renal artery. Going to kidney. This is renal vein coming from kidney. Parallel. Right? For example, this is aorta. It is coming from heart. This is inferior vena cava. It is going to heart. Only direction is changed and they are running parallel to each other. Now, what are the parts of nephron? Now, the parts of nephron. The structural and functional unit of kidney is nephron. For example, from here. For example, this is the interlobular artery. Efferent artery is arising from here. This is efferent artery. Efferent artery. Right? It forms a very unique capillary bed because the epithelial cells of this capillary bed will be different. They are perforated cells. Hundreds and thousands of pores are present in each cell of glomerulus epithelium. Right? So, for example, it is divided into capillaries, bed, right? And this capillary bed is placed in a cup-like structure. How you can define the nephron anatomically or histologically? This is a structure formed of epithelium tubes. Epithelium tubes are the tubes which are formed of epithelial cells and are responsible for urine formation is called nephron. The anatomical definition is the structural unit of kidney is nephron. The physiological definition is the functional unit of kidney is called nephron. Histological definition is this is a tube system or tube organ or cell which is formed of epithelial cells and responsible for urine formation. Right? So, this is the efferent artery. This structure is called glomerulus. This is glomerulus. This cup-like structure, of course, it will formed of epithelial cell. This is called Bowman's capsule. Right? And from here, all these tubes are formed of epithelial cells. Different types of epitheliums are present in each nephron. Right? This is called proximal convoluted. Why it is called convoluted? tubules, convoluted, because it forms loops. Convolutions are present in this tube, right, for increasing the surface area, right? So it is called proximal convoluted tube. Why it is called proximal? Because it is starting point of loop of Henle. The next is, this is loop of Henle. This is the descending limb or wide limb. This is the base of loop of. This is the ascending limb. This is the distal convoluted tubules, and this is collecting ducts. For example, two nephrons are drained into this collecting duct. For example, another nephron is joining this collecting duct. The size will be running wider. For example, in another two nephrons, it will wider again. For example, another two nephrons is just like this, and at last this is called the ductus of Bellani. Ductus of, we will discuss this, but this is the collecting duct. For example, this is proximal convoluted tubule. This is loop of Henle. In loop of Henle we have descending. This is descending limb. This is the base of narrow part of loop of Henle, and this is the ascending limb. What is the actual difference between the ascending and descending limb functional wise? Because we are studying the renal physiology. What is the functional difference between this descending limb and ascending limb? Now, water reabsorption. This is water tight and this is water permeable, right? About 65% water reabsorbed from descending limb, and no water content is reabsorbed from ascending limb. This is the difference, and this area is called distal convoluted tubules, and at last this is called collecting ducts. But functionally we will divide this nephron distal convoluted tubules into two parts. This is called late distal convoluted tubules, and these are called early distal convoluted tubules. Why we are dividing this? Because the cells of early distal convoluted tubules and the cells of late distal convoluted tubules are different. Also the mechanism by which it regulates the sodium level in body is different. So we divide this distal convoluted tubules into two: the early distal convoluted tubules and this late distal convoluted tubules. We will discuss all the mechanisms in urine formation. This is the parts, so these are the parts of nephron. From here, this is the efferent arteriole. The efferent arteriole is again divided into a capillaries bed, right? For example, like this, and all the tubes are covered by capillaries. This is the peritubular system or peritubular circulation, or this is the peritubular arterioles, peritubular capillaries bed, right? From here, this is arcuate, interlobular vein. A drain will into arcuate vein. Arcuate vein will be into interlobular vein, and interlobular will be in segmental, and segmental will be in renal, and renal in inferior vena cava. So these are the parts of nephron, and this is the actual blood supply of kidney. समझला हो बाकी निश्ता? Any question? हाँ, उस लग relax है हाँ, लग रहे पसे functions.